couple of bantamweights with a combined 9-1. If you mash it up those 5 on-ins, we have a Problema, and it's Cristian Quinonez who wowed on a week and a half's notice in a debut against Khalid Taha's last time out, replacing Taylor Lapilus over in Paris. Quinonez this time looking to turn the page, and he's taking on Mr. Perfect, Kyung Ho Kang. And Matt, when it does come to guys that are under the radar in a stacked bantamweight division, Kyung Ho Kang is that guy. I mean, he made his own UFC debut against Alex Caceres in a split decision loss, where it was overturned to a no contest because Caceres puffed and passed before that fight, and he was ordered into drug counseling. Matt, way back when, they were some different times. But Matt, if you look at for a guy like Kyung Ho Kang, I mean, large chunks of his career off due to inactivity, 2014 to 2018, mandatory military service. He had a bit of a hiatus, I guess, from 2019 to 2021 due to injuries and a marriage, so kind of happy, kind of sad. But if you look at it for Kang, his last loss, he floors my guy, Ronnie in the first round, only to tire and get taken down against the much older Yaya, and then Kang's last time out. And this fight clouds my judgment of the fight that Kang has last time out, clouds my judgment of this fight against Cristian Quinonez. Kang, his last time out, did something I've never seen him done in any of the tape study. He goes out there and fights behind a jab and a speedy 1-2 for 3 rounds against Bakary Dana, and has a close striking contest against one of the better, more hyped up strikers that we've seen in some time in Bakary. So for Kang, his last time out, abandons the jiu-jitsu, abandons the takedowns, which really kind of cemented him as a premier guy at bantamweight. And for Quinonez, not known for his takedown defense, though he does have good jiu-jitsu, brother of Teco Quinonez, who fought Sean O'Malley one time and fought on The Ultimate Fighter. But for Cristian Quinonez, he gets it done on the feet, and he is a lot of fun to watch when he's standing.
And that's why this is an interesting fight, because it really comes down to how does Kyung Ho Kang want to fight this fight? Because if he does fight with his wrestling and with his jiu-jitsu, it's the path of least resistance, right? Like, I wouldn't strike with Cristian Quinonez. I don't think a lot of smart fighters would, because he does have that next level power. The right hand he landed over the top of the guard of Khalid Taha before he knocked him out was absolutely dirty. Like, that was a beautiful shot that did lead to the finish. And if Kyung Ho Kang goes out there and does try to strike, be that cute fighter on the outside, I think it's going to end very poorly for him. But Kang does have all of the skills. That's the thing. He does have the striking. He does have the wrestling. He does have the jiu-jitsu. But at 35 years old, you do wonder, is the time off and kind of all the what-ifs, are they starting to add up? Because at 135, we don't see a lot of fighters at 35 having a ton of success. So you do worry, is the gas tank going to slow down? Because if he does go for a lot of takedowns early in this matchup, you bring up the Raoni Barcelos fight. If he goes for a lot of takedowns early in this fight... Ronnie Yaya, sorry. If he goes for a lot of takedowns early in this fight and does have success, could he tire himself out if he's not able to get a finish? I think this could be a fight where he wins a lot of battles, but ultimately could lose the war, because if he is not a sitting duck on the feet in the third round, but if he is tired, if his hands are down and he's just walking backwards against a guy like Quinonez is going to find the chin at some point because he's that talented of a striker.
And we've only really seen Kang in a couple of fights struggle with the pace, and it was that Ronnie Yaya fight. He was trying to go for his own takedowns at the same time, and he struggled trying to get wrapped up against a guy who's been in the UFC doing it for a long damn time, Ronnie Yaya. But Kang, I mean, even at home in Busan, he's taking on Liu Pingyuan. It was a wild fight. It was a split decision win for Kang. And in that one, if you look at the end of it, his face and his nose, he looks like the skate guards that guys wear if they're going to block slap shots, or like the toe guards that you wear in baseball. His nose was swelled right up and flat on his face. So it was a tough look for him, where he got cut open in top position against Liu Pingyuan. If you laid it for Cristian Quinonez, I have to say this because, again, I talk about Teco, who is his brother, and Cristian is on a 5-fight win streak, but his last loss was against Victor Hugo Madrigal. And Matt, there's a guy, and I'm going to put us at the opening portion of this. There's a guy. This guy keeps the Quinonez brothers awake at night. Victor Hugo Madrigal. He's beaten both those brothers, and they never got their shot to beat him. So Victor Hugo Madrigal, keeping people awake at night. Matt, when you look at a matchup like this, Quinonez, when he is standing, he's an odd striker because he has good leg kicks. He doesn't necessarily throw them a ton. He fights behind a jab, double up, triple up, which is awesome to see. But he fights with his hands up, and you never really know what's coming. He's not like a TJ Dillashaw where he's throwing that power hand up to try and distract your eyes. He just kind of fights with a really high guard. And he is a guy out of Entram Gym training with some of the fighters that you're also going to have on this card. like Manuel Torres, and both of those guys fought in the same episode of Dana White's Contender Series. Quinonez gets a win over the WLF War's own. It was Zhao, and in that fight, he did look really good. He defends all the takedowns. He's able to piece up his opponent on the feet. He gets that Taha win after an extended period of time off himself. But if you do look at it and you consider it, Quinonez did struggle against Matos with the takedowns, but he ultimately gets the win there. And we can go down through both these guys' extensive records, but if you consider it, I mean, Gong, he's dropped fighters in the UFC. He's been dropped in the UFC. I think it's Teruto Ishihara's fight at UFC 234 is probably the one that a lot of people go back to. That was a wild one round of action. But when we look at this matchup, Matt, for Mr. Perfect, he is the one that's not favored so far. If we have a look at the fan vote on Topology to try and see what the fans are thinking, I'm going to say over-under for the much younger fighter in this one who's 27. I'm going to say over-under 75% Quinonez.
I think it'll be over.
I think it's going to be over. It's right on. 575 total votes, 75% Quinonez, 68% by decision for the 25% that have Gong, 80% by decision after Kyung Ho Kang his last time out. He took on, again, Bakary Dana, who had just fought Chris Gutierrez. 4,201 total votes, 26% had Gong to get the win. So he wasn't favored by the fans in that one, equally not favored by the fans in this one. Do you have the younger guy, Quinonez, or do you have that old road dog, Kyung Ho Kang?
I've got the younger fighter. I have Problema. I just think he's going to make Kong pay a lot more for when he's going for those takedown attempts. I do think Quinonez is going to be able to land some of those awkward angle shots, and you're right. Is what he does all that organic or unique? No, not really. He does fight in an awkward stance, but it does work for him, and he is able to land pretty good power shots with that right hand. He can set it up well with the left. You bring up the double and the triple jab. He just throws the left hand well to distract the opponent so he can set up the big power shots. So I do have Quinonez in this matchup.
I think Kyung Ho Kang mixes it up and gets the win in this matchup against Quinonez. And Quinonez has good jiu-jitsu that can get him back up to the feet if he needs to. Gong's got the good takedowns. A freestyle wrestling base is what you'll see. Or you'll see takedowns of a freestyle wrestling base from Kyung Ho Kang, who made that UFC debut against Alex Caceres on a fight card headlined by Vanderlei Silva and Brian Stan at the Saitama Super Arena. A wild one indeed. I'm out for Gong. If you do consider it his last time out, 64% significant strike rate over 3 rounds against a good striker in Bakary Dana, and he didn't show any signs of slowing down in that one. So I have Kyung Ho Kang in the matchup, Matt. You're going with Cristian Quinonez. If Kyung Ho Kang wins by flying triangle like he did against one Guido Canetti,
I would be surprised.
I'm going to lose my damn mind, and Victor Hugo Madrigal gets a shot in the UFC if that happens. Matt, some wild stuff in this matchup. We're split on the pick. Let us know down below what you have in a matchup in the deepest division in all of MMA. Some big time fights on this card, including Vettori versus Cannonier in the main event. You're not going to want to miss it. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, we always say.
Let's get into it.